Okay, the next section of the track is the most physical, demanding part of the track. The sand whoops, man-made to make them even harder. Coming right out of the corner, and then there's some real big ones there to start with, and then they get a little smaller here, but they keep going all the way up around that corner, so you got to turn while you're going through them. And they're kind of soft on top. You got to really be right on with your balance, pulling back on the handlebars, and the timing, the front wheel placement just right to keep it from swapping. So we're going to check it out from a couple different angles here, and then I'll describe it a lot better when we get in the editing room. This sand section is pretty tricky. This corner here, you really have to keep your momentum up. So when you jump into these sand whoops, you can get far into them. You can jump at least on top of them and start carrying a lot of speed. Then as you get to the smaller ones, it's just rowing back, pulling back on those handlebars and lofting that front wheel just over the top of each whoop. Let the back wheel drive through the holes that keeps the bike straight. Loft the front wheel over the whoops. Pull back on the handlebars and stay on the throttle to keep the bike straight, driving forward. Otherwise, it's going to bounce up in the air and lose its drive. Start swapping sideways. Set it up for the corner. The helmet cam in the sand whoops. There's that first big whoop. More like a little jump. And then you get into the big rollers. Loft that front wheel over each one, grip the bike with your knees, pull back on those handlebars. Every time the back wheel compresses hard, you got to be on the gas and pulling back on the bars. Okay, we just did the sand whoops over there, up around there, and right at the end of the sand whoops, you come into this sweeping corner. It's a little bit bumpy, not too much. It's got some berms in it, pretty good traction there through the sweeper out of the sand whoops, but then all of a sudden right here it turns to hard packed clay again. A little bit different, and it goes down into a left-hand turn down there over a little hump. So we're going to show you what this sweeper looks like, and then we can break it down and talk about the techniques. Coming out of the sand whoops into this kind of bumpy, sandy sweeper, see how I'm using the cushion to make most of my cut, where I got a lot of traction right here, cushion. Make a lot of cut and use a lot of power to keep your momentum up through the corner. You can see that cushion, that's where you want to make most of your cut and power. To carry your speed, where you got the most traction, that's where you want to make most of your turn. Where you don't have a lot of traction, you don't turn very sharp. Okay, you saw the rhythm section here from behind. Now you're going to see it from the side. And we'll do it from the front too. We'll do another one from close behind right here. You know, when you're riding, hammering out laps, this is a good place to rest. It's nice and smooth, and you get some air time. You can really catch your breath and relax. It's really the easiest section of the track physically. But if you really want to make time, you know, you got to concentrate on having your speed through here and staying low. And I know everybody loves to do the scrub, learn how to do the scrub, so I'm going to attempt to do one. I'm not the best at it, but I know how to do the technique, so at least I'll be able to show you the techniques for doing the scrub, but don't expect to see it all pancaked over sideways, because it ain't going to happen. If it does, it's a mistake, and I'm probably going to crash. So we're just going to do the techniques for the scrub, kind of show you how to stay low, and I'll talk about it more in the edit suite, and figure out how to do it, and how you guys can safely practice it and get the hang of it, man. It takes knowing how to do it, but then it takes a seat time of going over and over and over in it. So let's check this rhythm section out. It's a fun section. Okay, I'm trying to stay low over these jumps by doing the scrub. Coming off this first little hump, hitting the first little jump, and now to get into the bigger ones, you want to lean the bike over, kind of twist it off the top and turn the front wheel to the way you're leaning. I got a little more into a whip there than a scrub. Here's the second one. You see I'm leaning the bike over, turn the front wheel to the inside just as it comes off the top of the jump. Get it set up for the corner here. Here it is from another angle. Come out of the corner off the first little hump here, and then use compression and rebound. Turn the bike as you come off. Twist it a little bit. Make sure you're on the power before you land. Here it is again. A little more of a whip there. Coming off, lean the bike over. Turn the front wheel as you go off the top of the jump. It's kind of hard to do on these because they're straight and the top is hard pack and tacky. You really can't slide the front wheel over, off the top of these. Here it is with the helmet cam. See that first hump, and then you'll come into your rhythm section. First little jump here. And then when you land it, see how straight they are, and the tops are kind of hard pack and tacky, not very slippery. That's the way it's done. All right, man, we're next to the last section now before we get clear back to the beginning. We're going to take it over the rhythm section again where you saw my attempts at scrubbing. Hopefully it's good enough to explain the technique. And so you get the front side of the rhythm section. This left-hand sand turn, set it up into that right-hand sand berm. Kind of got a switch back there on the straightaway, and then we'll pick it up from there to our last section. So we're almost around the whole track with our analyzation segments. This is tiring. I've been out here for hours now doing this. This is harder than just riding motos. Alright, here's another angle of the scrubs, the rhythm section. You see, you lean it over on the face, turn the front wheel as you come up off the face. Come up the face, lean the bike over and turn the front wheel off the top. This causes the rebounding force to go out to the side instead of straight up, which keeps you, that's how you stay lower. Then coming into this next corner, I've got to hold that rear brake till I can get onto the power, go from braking to accelerating. Here I got my body position forward so the back end can swing out of the corner for me. I got my body weight in front of the pivot point, and then on the back brake until I can get on the throttle again here. Always braking to accelerating. There's the nice cushion berm around the corner. You want to set up to the left so I can approach this next corner from the outside and ride the whole berm. Okay, last and final section to loop the track back together. I'm going to come into that corner right there from that short straightaway, do that turn, little switch back here, and off that jump. And I'm going to talk about setting up for that jump and how to suck it up and stay low. Make sure you hit your landing target just right. And that'll sum it up. You know, we got a few surprises for you, a few bonuses here with some goon riding. I know everybody loves to do the whip, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit here when we're done, demonstrate that. But here we are for our last section of the track, so check it out. Okay, coming out of this corner, kind of going around this sweeper, standing up across these braking bumps, gripping the bike with my knees, and then accelerating all through the face of this jump to get the distance but stay low. Staying tall on compression and then using my legs to absorb the rebound, letting the bike come up under me on the rebound to stay low. Exiting the corner, getting set up for the next sweeper corner before the jump. Kind of brings you out on the inside. Stand up across these bumps, which are bigger than they look, of course. And there you have the hard-packed face. You want to stay on the gas on this one and absorb it. Stay low, hit your landing just right, and accelerate down the straightaway. Okay, you know the whip, everybody wants to learn how to do the whip. So we're going to use this jump right here. It's got a real nice big long face on the other side. You'll see when I take off from that side. And this is your landing here. And you want to set the whip up so you're coming in a little bit of an angle. Keep your hips square on top of the bike, or a little bit to the inside is actually even better of the way you're going to whip it. And as you go up the face, lean the bike over, and as it goes off the top, you're leaning over, whip your hips out a little bit to whip the back end out. And then you can control it by counter steering in the air and letting it come out more, or pulling it back in a little bit with your legs, how far you want it to go. And what really determines that is the amount you whip it when you go off the top. That's why they call it a whip. You whip it with your hips. But you want to start from the inside, so you can let the bike come up out from under you and whip it even more if you want. You don't want to get on the high side of the bike and then try to whip it that way. You want to be on the low side of the bike to whip it up the other way. And then in the air, once you hang there with your whip for a while, you just reverse the movement that you did on takeoff to pull it back in and landing. So check it out. We'll show it from both angles, front and back. Okay, for the whip, come into the jump at a little bit of an angle, lean the bike over on the face, and then as it rebounds, toss the rear end out with your hips. Out with your hips, and keep the bike leaned over. Counter steer with the front wheel. When you get it up to the top of the arc, just reverse your movement that you did upon takeoff. Bring your hips back to center and straighten the bike out for your landing. Top of the arc. Keep your center of balance and reverse the movement, straighten it out for landing, and when you land, land with the throttle on to keep it even more straight.